Hello, everybody. Welcome to my Fusion training and this shed framing module that I like to work with in my classrooms. And so, anybody catching this out there on YouTube in the real world, make sure you understand I'm about to design this thing to scale in inches. It's going to be an 8-inch by 10-inch by 8.5-inch tall shed, not a real shed that's going to be buildable or anything like that. So it's a great training process, but it's a scale model lesson. So don't expect this thing to be, true to exact size in reality. Next, being that we're doing this in inches and we're building this in class, my students, I want you to know that the dimensions of all these pieces we're going to use and build currently as I do this with my 2025 students, this is all going to be cut from 36-inch lengths of the same measurement pieces. So if you know that, and you know that all of these pieces in reality are going to be balsa wood pieces that are going to be 1/4 of an inch tall and 1/8 of an inch wide pieces that we're going to trim out and cut to make these. All right. So right out of the gate, that makes the measurement system much more understandable. That this thing is 10 inches wide, 8 inches deep. It's going to be 6.5 inches tall on the back wall, 8.5 inches tall on the front wall. And it's going to be neat because you're going to see how all this framing actually works in reality. And I'm going to talk about some of the names of the parts and what this looks like in the real world. This is true real world lesson stuff. So here we go. I'm going to create a new design. I'm going to start off right away by saving this as shed frame, which I strongly encourage you to do right now too. Close that little one. So we're going to start off with the floor. I'm going to go actually back to this real quick and let you watch the entirety of this as I play it back for you from the beginning. I'm going to make one part and pattern it to make joists. Box it in, then we're going to put on a rear wall, front wall. We start cutting away things to piece in a window and a door. And then there are two very simple frames on left and right side after you're done. And then we'll get into making the ceiling joists or rafters, depending on where you live. Some of these things are called different terms, but we have floor joists, we have studs, we have rafters, we have window framing and elements and stuff like that. So here we go. Step one is making sure that your document settings are in inches. My students should have that by default. Then you're clicking and making sure, super sure, that your orientation when we do this is right to begin with, because you want to draw the floor from the top view. We're going to start with a rectangle, pull it out. It's going to be, you see, look at the bottom measurement is 0.307 here. You just have to change that to 1/8 tab to jump to the other measurement. The first floor lengths are going to be 7 7/8 of an inch. All right, so it should look like that. And you're going to start using some different things. Hit the E button on the keyboard. If you haven't seen this, this might be a little bit new, but E is going to launch the extrude tool. It's going to make it much faster and easier to open that up, because we're going to use that a bunch of times here in class. This is going to be 0.25 or 1/4 of an inch. So that's our first board measurement. We're going to make a pattern of 7 of these total. What you're going to just double check here real quick is when you're selecting the part for the pattern that it says bodies. There's just different ways you can pattern stuff, and we want to take this whole body and pattern it. Then you're going to click the select button and choose the edge of this as the axis, and this blue arrow, grab it, pull it. That's going to see or show you where the measurements are changing here, and what direction you're dealing with, because this can go 3 down right now, and I don't want it to go 3 down. I only want 1 layer of floor. So I'm going to change that bottom number to 1. This top number is going to be 7. And then the distance it's going is going to be 9 7/8. Hit enter. What that's going to do is just pattern this out. That 9 7/8 was the distance from the edge of this board to the outside of the other one, collectively 10 inches total. So that's the floor joists. Next sketch, click on the outside end of the joist, click create sketch. Now, another setup thing is if you look at my menu across the top here, you have other tools that aren't there by default. And I've done that by going down to where I have to go all the time to find those tools. And that gets irritating for me. So I take this little triple dot menu, click pin to toolbar. So my project button, you can see the icon there, now up here. Anything that you use often and you have to keep going to this menu to find, good idea, put them up here. The only thing that I'm going to mention is if you do that and you open certain things like menus on the side, it's going to crunch down the screen and it's going to clip off some of that stuff. So it's not always visible if you have other things open here. So another quick point. So the thing about projecting is what I'm going to do is this projection tool, I have a new sketch on the end of these joists. That's, it's a plane in space here. So this is a new workplace, a new sketch. It doesn't see all of these other parts that I made in that other sketch. So if you project something, I'm going to project that bottom corner of that 2x4. It's putting that point of that 2x4 or floor joist on the new sketch plane. So when I go and start making a rectangle, the first point usually will pick up a part or a body that's in the sketch behind it. The second point oftentimes it won't see where you got to click to end that accurately. So if you project that point, your first point it sees, the second point sometimes it doesn't. It's always going to dock itself perfectly where you want it if you project things onto your new sketches. So that's a real helpful thing to understand about how the program works. So you're going to E again for extrude. Not so helpful, but whatever. Part of the program, when I do this extrude, it always wants to eliminate the selection of this little box. I don't know why. This is going to be 1/8 of an inch. All right. Also, real quick. Right now, I have all these bodies, 7 separate bodies that I have, and I don't want to work with that many bodies as I'm dealing with framing something. So if I make this true to life and make that a new body, it's going to make an 8th body, and it's going to cap this off. In reality, we're going to build this way. All of these joists are going to be capped off on the end by a 10-inch piece of wood on both sides. But in CAD, I don't want that. Sorry, this is getting a little bit training intensive, but it shows you that if I hit join now and hit OK, it's going to join all these together and keep it as one body. It's not, wood can't be put together this way unless you cut the wood out that way for building this. So you need to see that and understand what's going on, that I'm making this work this way for construction 3D modeling purposes. Easy on myself. But I misclicked. I just did not hit the right surface that I meant to. So I'm going to undo that, shift this over my sketch menu. I should only have 2 sketches going on. At this point, you should check yourself. If you have any more than 2 sketches, fix it. All right. That's something people accidentally create extra sketches, and then it becomes complicated figuring out if you go wrong somewhere. You're creating a new sketch on the other end of the joists here, and you're just repeating the process. I want to project this bottom corner, draw a rectangle, hit the E button. One-eighth and join it. All right, so I only have one body for my whole floor. Keep in mind, for my students, we are going to be building this in reality, and these are going to be 2 long 10-inch pieces that are going to be perfectly constructed, just like this. The joists in between the 2 ends. All right, now, again, I said this before, but I'm going to say it again. You really have to keep an eye on your orientation here, otherwise it's going to get wonky. I want to build the back wall, so you want to be looking at this from the top, and we're going to build the back wall along the back edge of this. So double check and make sure that you're all good at this point before you make any extra mistakes if you already did. So I'm putting a new sketch on top of my joists. This should pick up. All right, I didn't need to project that. It's going to pick it up. But you see it, that top dimension is at 10 inches already. You're just going to leave it that way. You hit the tab key, and then you're going to make this 0.25 or 1/4. Same thing, quarter of an inch width. You can see it's going to change it and convert it to 0.25 in decimal form. Hit the extrude button. This selection is a little funny. You're going to have to select these to get that whole... This piece that I'm making right now, sorry for flipping that around. It's all selected. This is the bottom of the wall, also referred to in reality as a sole plate. This is 1/8 of an inch. Again, all those pieces are going to be the same. I want the wall to not join to the floor in this case. So I'm going to make sure that this says new body. Hit OK. Double check that this has a seam and there's two pieces here. Please and thank you. So now what we're going to do is draw what's called a stud, and that's going to be just done with a rectangle on this, and then we're going to go vertically 6.5 inches. So I'm going to create a sketch. Make sure you click in the right place. I did spin this around on me, but we're still working on the right spot. 2-point rectangle, draw here. All right, zoom in so you don't make any mistakes. Again, 1/8. And the 0.25 that's there, if I hit tab, that's the measurement that we need. It's snapped into where it needs to be. So I'm going to hit the E to extrude this 6.5 inches. Now I'm going to make sure in this moment I make this a new body, because what we're going to do to build these walls is pattern to the sides, and it can't be fused and collectively one body like the floor was, because otherwise I need to do this patterning process. So anyway, it's new body. I'm going to do that. And then we're going to click this new body stud that we just built and pattern it 7 times to the right. So click rectangular pattern. It's blue and selected. There we go. Axis selection. You can click the edge on it or any other edge that goes in the direction that you want it to go. When it turns blue again, grab it this way, pull it. You see the measurement changes here. We need 7 of them going to the right at 9 7/8 spacing, so it aligns to the other spacing. We're going to make this 1 since we only need 1 wall. Hit OK. Whoa! Why did I have a pattern error? Ooh, it needed to be negative. I wiped it out. There we go. Okay, and then on top of the studs goes a top plate. And it's always, in the real world, there's 2 of these for all your walls in your houses or in a shed or something. You do a double top plate. Right now I'm just doing a single one, so you can see what's happening in the framing process. There we go, rectangle. And let's see if this picks up on this side. This is one of those instances that I was projecting earlier, and I did this just so you can get a visual of what doesn't happen sometimes. It's not going to see that stud that I just drew and that pattern that I just made in some cases. So if you do that to yourself, you can fix that by just typing in the actual exact measurement, 10 inches that way. Hit tab on the keyboard. Sorry, I zoomed out so you can't really see it. And then this needs to be 0.25 or 1/4 going that way. Hit enter, hit the E button to extrude. Top plate. A little leftover piece. 1/8. So that's that wall. You can see I can hide the first body, and you can see I still have just a wall on top of it. Now we're going to draw the front wall. Let's spin this thing back around. Get oriented again here. So front wall. It's going to be doing creating a sketch on the top of the floor. Sole plate of the wall. 10-inch measurement is accurate, so hit tab and then 0.25. Enter E for extrude. One-eighth. Make sure again, since we're starting a new wall, you go to new body here, hit OK, double check it by looking for a seam. I haven't covered this in this specific video. If you're just catching this online, if you ever need to fix that, you just right click down here in this history list of things, and you can change it from join to new body and fix that if you had to. Same process where I'm going to draw 1. Only difference is this time it's going to be 10 and it's going to be taller. So, let's see. Okay, it's going to be highlighted in blue is the 1/8. Hit tab. The 0.25 is already accurate, so it's done. Hit enter. Hit E to extrude that. And before you do anything else, make sure it's going in as a new body, because we're going to have to pattern it. Distance for front wall height, 8.5 inches. Enter. It does that every once in a while. It's just fused it together, and then I wouldn't be able to pattern that individual piece. You double click this, and normally should come up. Sometimes on my school computers it doesn't. You got to right click and go to edit feature, but this joins sometimes it just jumps to it by accident. You have that new body. If it does that to you, I might have made a mistake. I just wasn't super careful about that operation there. But rectangular pattern, click that front stud, selection button for the axis. I'm going to pull this to the right. Again, in this case, it's the same distance that it's going, but we need 9 of these. I'm sorry, 10 of them. Not 310, 10. There we go. And then they're going to go 9 7/8 again. Yeah, the 9 and space 7/8 is where I went wrong. Ooh. Sorry. That's how I have my recording set up. It makes it a little difficult to see this sometimes. All right, and then change. You can even do this if you're already there. It's easy. You only need the one direction there. Okay. Top plate. I'm going to save myself the energy and project the end edge for this rectangle to go to. So I don't have to put any measurements in. Just hit enter and then E. So it avoids having to put any dimensions in, which is always good. Simplification is always smart when you're getting into detail work. And I want that to join. That way this becomes this. We're taking this body list and just shortening it as much as we possibly can by joining these. That's not how it's going to get built, because you can't build pieces of wood together that way. Yeah. This is where we're at. And what I've done is I've made some drawings here so you can get a better view. Those are all the dimensions on the front side, which I need to keep looking at to make sure that I do this right while I do this, because I placed these total of 10 studs in here where we can just cut away the entire window opening and then put in the header and the sill and the header over here. Let's start with this because it's going to be a little easier to do the door and then the window. So we're just cutting out the We're leaving 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 are going away. So that's how you're going to see this. So we're also cutting away some of the floor here, or some of the base plate as we do this. So that's got to get trimmed away. This is what that's going to look like. Front. I'm going to put a drawing or start my sketch there. Now I'm going to hide those two bodies in order to this. You don't need to hide this, but it should be second and third in your list of bodies. Those are bodies that you're going to visually see that make up the back wall of this. To make the front wall do this easier, that other stuff will be in the way. That makes sense. Here we go. I want to cut a rectangle. Like I said, we're going to cut out the 2 and 3. You're going to do is, see, I'm not picking up those points. This is where projection starts to become critical to understand. You're going to project the bottom edge of this 2x4. I'm even going to project this point right here. I'm going to skip 1, 2. I'm going to project to there. So those are just going to be geometries that are going to help me, or points in space that are going to help me lay this out. I'm going to hover over this projection point, go straight down with my mouse, click. I'm going up to, there you go. I need this to lock onto that point. And if I get over to that projected point and I hover over it, the spacing is funny, 3.167 inches, but that's the spacing that needs to be cut width-wise. So I'm going to leave it there and hit tab, and then I'm going to type in 7.5. And what that's going to do, I didn't mean to, tab. I lost my dock on that point. Well, essentially this is, I messed up on that, so I'm just going to hit escape and undo. I gotta just deal with it. Sorry about that. Whoop. It starts to get a little bit tricky. Front wall is a little tough. So you're going to zoom in and drop your first rectangle point there. Hover over this point. 3.167. That measurement, I want it to stay there. I'm using that point that I just projected to find that distance for me, so I don't have to worry about any math for this. And then I'm going to hit tab to jump to the height measurement of this and type in 7.5. I clicked away from it when I did that before, and then you don't want to do that. You want to just hit E on the keyboard to start the extrude. I gotta enter one more time to finish that rectangle, apparently. Missed that. Didn't have this final measurement. It's just a little tricky. This is kind of just a trick to make it easier to build. So I'm going to extrude, hit the E button, take this rectangle, and it's going to go backwards and cut through everything that way. So really just has to go backwards 0.25 if you want to make it a little bit more precise. Oh, cut. Needs to be negative 0.25. There you go. So I'm going to build a header. Just click on this front surface here. The header to hold up the top of the door frame. Again, I want to project some things. I really should only have to project this one point to make this work. Actually, I'll project these two edges to guarantee this is very simple for everyone here. What you do is hover over this projected point, drag to the left until it hits that left side here, and go back to the right until it picks up the right side. That 3.167 just got picked up again. You just leave that number that's there. Press tab. This is going to be 0.25 for us. Hit the E on the keyboard. Whoop. Sorry, hit enter. I did that before. And then hit the extrude key. E. Select that. So you can see what's actually happening here. This has to go negative again. And what I want you to do is change the measurement. This is going to be two pieces glued together, but 0.25. It's going to be 1/4 of an inch thick. And I completed my negative there. But the header for the door is going to look like that. I'm going to double click this, open it back up, and just put new body, because it's going to make more sense for everybody to see this on drawing and not mess that up when you're building this for the very first time. Front elevation. Now I gotta, from the left side, I'm gonna leave 1, 2, and then 3, 4 is gonna be where the window is gonna go. The opening is gonna start 3.25 or 3.25 inch up, and then it's gonna go up 4 inches, and then I'm just gonna put in the header and this here. So it's just a matter of really breaking things down and making construction mathematically simple. Get back to the right drawing, put it on the front, and create a sketch. And you're going to make sure it's on the very front surface of this wall. And it looks like it wants to pick up these points. What I want to do is drop a point. Just do it this way. So there's a point tool where you can just put a point, and I'm going to put a measurement on it from the point down to here is 3.25. All right, and what that's going to allow me to do is then just use that point to start this. Again, it's going to be 3.167 going to the right, so it's snapped to that point of that stud, which is great. Press tab, and then 4 inches vertical. Hit enter, then E to extrude this shape. You're going to have to actually, extrude is going to be a cut going backwards. I don't know why I did that way. Nope. Cancel. Sorry about that. I'm just going to process through that for a second. E for extrude, it's going to be a cut. So it goes backwards. Oh my goodness. All you need to do is click these two. I just wasn't quite thinking. I'm going to go backwards, negative 0.25, and enter. There you go. It's got that rough opening there for those pieces, and we're gonna. my dog is getting a little talkative in the background here, so I'm gonna pause for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna try and cruise through the rest of this really quickly here. So the next sketch is gonna be on. First of all, we're going to be building the header and windowsill. I just paused for a second, so I'm keeping track of everything here. The selection process, you can either select this wall first and create sketch, or vice versa. We put the sketch there, do some projection. We're going to project this corner. Ooh. All right, just need that corner, this edge, and that edge. I'm going to click and deselect everything here because I misclicked. Select. Just those edges and that point. All right, so now when I, actually here, I'm going to do these down here too. I already got the two outsides. I just need one of these to make my life a little bit easier when I'm placing things. Hover over this purple dot, drag to the left one, go back across to the right side, get your 3.167 dimension snapped in place up there. Hit the tab button and 0.25. Enter. Another one of the same down here. Just use that purple point to align to each edge. Click, go tab. After you get that, again, that bottom number is highlighted in blue, hit tab, 0.25, enter. And then you can hit the E, select these two. It's going to be a negative 0.25 going backwards in this case. And I want you to use new body so you can specifically see the header and some parts there separately. And then these pieces in here are called the cripples. But all right, so I have these bodies in the back turned off. I need those turned on to draw the sides. And the side's easy once we get this process down. We can kind of cruise along. I'm going to speed the process up here, not talk so much for real this time. I was just thinking about something else. I'm sorry. I'm not drawing on that side. I'm drawing just like we did the other walls. Drawing in this next wall here on the side. You want to click on the top surface of the frame. Find that it turns it like that. It should pick up these points on both ends without any projections. I haven't done this in a bit as I'm recording this. Okay, see, it's not really picking up anything comfortably, so I'm going to hit project, and I'm going to click at this point, and I can use the same one on the other side. So those two purple points are my rectangle top and bottom. So it's that 7.625 is the right number. This has to be 0.25 for the bottom plate of the next wall. At E, you're going to have to make sure both of those sections of lines there are selected 1/8. I just went too fast and joined it. That should be a new body. It's good to see all this stuff too. Just making mistakes is just part of what's going to happen, and quickly knowing how to fix it so you can see the way that this next wall is going to be placed in. My dog's starting to talk in the background, so up here, don't mind Daisy. I'm going to create the stud going this way, and this is going to be the same as the back wall height as we go. I'm going to select this here. Cool. That's snapping to the 0.25, so you just leave that, and once it's there, hit tab, and then 1/8. Again, this is going to be patterned, so when we go to E for extrude and we click this, you have to make sure it's a new body. This one's going to be 6.5 inches. All right, and it did what it does. And this last extrude here is joined, even though I started off with a new body. Go back and change it. I do that all the time, no big deal. So you can do a rectangular pattern of this part, select this axis. And now you should be able to start to see the redundancy of how this works out. This one's going to be going 6 in this direction. And honestly, I forgot what the measurement is, but watch, this is what you would do to make CAD easier on yourself. So you can see I could figure out the measurement. Yeah, it is. Okay. 7.5 inches negative less. Daisy, she's getting a little feisty doggy. Hey, baby. Oh. Okay. Okay, so you're seeing this. I don't want the quantity being 3 in the other direction. I just want one. All right. I'm just going to click this point down here, project this. What is going on? Doesn't want to find that point. I'll have to use this one. Okay, I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can see where I'm going. I'm drawing the rectangle from... Oh, I can go to this corner and draw it in reverse to make my life easier. So you just project points in space to sometimes make your life easier if you're piecing things in like this. Now I'm going to hit E, just like that. Make sure I don't miss this little piece and go up to 1/8. Join is good in this case. Actually, it's not in this case. I'll be right back after I let my dog out. Hang on one second. Super cool to have a dog that can ring the bell, but sometimes it's really weird at certain times. Right click on this and edit the feature so you can see you can do it that way. Sometimes double clicking on it doesn't work so well. This needs to be a new body. All right, I want that way so you can see the seams in this case, because what we'll do in a minute here is I want to really make this as accurate to framing as I possibly can. And I'm going to draw this by hand because at this point you should be a little bit faster at it instead of trying to pattern that wall. I could actually, no, it's because of the bodies that I'm specifically leaving. Like I could pattern this thing, but because it's not one solid body, the pattern process just isn't worth the time. Is what I'm getting at. This is such a simple, at this point, sketching process where you project a couple of points, draw a rectangle, make sure it snaps to the right size, and this size. Ooh. Going over to that point, that's the right point. Now it's got it. So you just type in the 1/4 that way. Extrude. Underneath. New body. Definitely didn't do that sketch the right way. 0.25. I don't know what I was thinking. My dog was getting me going. Hopefully you guys caught that mistake as I was drawing that. Say what? That should be that. Put a new sketch on here. See, I'm over here now. So I wanted that 2.25. I'm going to tab and then 1/8 this way. Hit the E to extrude this 6.5. Make sure you go back to new body so you don't have to go back and do it like I did before. And you can pattern this thing right from here. Objects already selected, axis like this. Once you can trust what's going on, and you can keep it simple. We're going up this way. I want 6 that way, 1 this way. And you can drag this right into place just like I did the last one. 7.5. It should dock itself right there. If not, you can type in the 7.5. Hit OK. Oh, should pattern. Oh, I didn't. That's why sometimes it does really pay to just turn things on an angle. Oh, I want 6. That's 7.5. One of these. There we go. So just to make sure my life is simple, I'm going to project this point and that. Hover down over here, get that 7.625 locked in. Actually, that's it. I got the 0.25 on the top and then the 7.625 of the measurements I need on the bottom. If I hit enter, in my case, I'm good to go. And then I get an AE. Get that little piece there and come up to 1/8. Again, I want you to new body this one so you can see what real framing ends up looking like. I don't even have to really do this. It does make sense too. There's another part of what they do in framing in our world. There's a couple of things really. Just to get into true form, you would always add another. You want to form a complete joint between the two walls. So this is a vertical 2x4 on a wall. Would have 2 of these on the corner to really strengthen this up, so you can attach the 2 walls together and make that corner super strong. The guys in my class have built towers already before doing this. Like the importance of assembling this stuff and putting certain things like the corners together the right way in a structure is going to make an incredible difference in how you build stuff. So and actually, you know what, since we're here right now, I'm going to do a quick conversion with coloration because this is starting to not look so interesting color-wise. Click the first body, hold the shift key down, and then the last one. I can range select things so you don't have to click them one by one. Then you can right click on any single one of these, go to the appearance control. In my case, it's taking a long time to come up. What's going on here? I think I'm just operating super slowly. Oh boy. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I think it might just be too much going on while I'm sitting here recording. All right, I'm going to leave the colors. I should, at this point, be able to change the color to what color at this point anyway. Then you can do it later when everything's done. Okay, back to this real quick. The true to form construction is going to have another top cap. The top of a wall in between like first and second floor, or just the top of a ranch house or whatever, you're always going to have another overlapping kind of thing going on. And I'm going to project. I really just need to project these outside lines to make this understandable easily. So a center point rectangle from here. And you can see this top. Whoa, not center point. I'm sorry. Rectangle. I'm getting tired. Rectangle from there to this side. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch this way, 0.25. And then that length right there, that 7.875 is what you want. Enter. And then it would be the same thing on the other side. All right, I actually I'm gonna Control Z real quick and undo that. Or no, I don't need to undo that. I can just put in a measurement real quick because I didn't. Thought I heard my dog wanting to come in and I didn't get the right measurement. 0.25. Enter. Okay, so if you're looking at this in the way, again, I'm trying to make this as realistic as possible. The way that this back wall and the front wall are on the outsides of the two side walls. So then on the top, they keep everything together. Hit the extrude button here so you can see this. There would be a full length piece here and here. Oh, I got this 1/8 and make these new body. Hit OK. All right, so this corner, a lot of the also reinforcement strength. This is going to make it much more load bearing, so you can put weight on top of that. Where if you have snow or something, it's going to take the weight, it's going to hold everything together, and then the overlapping here intentionally keeps the corner extra secure from the top of the wall. And this is how framing truly works. I'm going to do one more sketch real quick up here. Let's see if I don't have to. Yeah, it's not going to pick up anything, so I'm going to want to project these couple of points here and then fill this in. Up to 9.5. You can hover the right place where you can put in the 9.5 once you're there. Hit tab, 0.25, enter, E to extrude this piece right here, the 1/8. And I want that to be a new body as well, so you can really see in the construction process how they tie together. This layer here is important for the strength and also how the roof gets put on. I'm going to put one more for consistency's sake. All you really need to do is hit project and hit the whole top of this one. All right, now that's definitely my dog. Hit OK, hit the E for extrude, and extrude that top as a new body. Another, and we'll double this up when we build it, 1/8. That did that auto join thing again, so I'm just going to double click this and back to new body. So that's really truly right. And then we're going to flip it around and we're going to draw the side. I'm going to pause real quick, let my dog in, be right back. All right, so I just let my dog inside, and that chewing noise that you hear in the background is me giving her a bone so she's not tap dancing everywhere. I apologize, but this won't take much longer. Check it out. This is what a rafter looks like. And what we're going to do to build this thing is project some geometry. We're just going to push these lines. I'm going to pause again and see what I can do about that sound. I'm sorry, it's very loud. Okay, so puppy relocated. So the situation here is we're going to project the edges of the walls that you see here in black, this corner, and then the same thing up here. And we're going to put a point, an eighth of an inch, which is going to convert to 0.125 down here. And we're going to draw the first line through it, and then everything else kind of comes into place from there. This is a great moment to just pause and admire what you can do with, like, if you were thinking from a carpenter's perspective of mapping something like this out on a piece of wood with no software help, this is a lot of math that you would have to learn to do this. Or you can build it in a way like this, map it out, and then pull your measurements right from it as you go. So just so we can get here, I'm going to try this one more time. With a couple of bodies maybe, and see if the appearance will launch. I don't know what's going on. It's because I'm just I've got two screens and I'm looking at this. Funny, I didn't see that disappeared on me. So, okay, I can do this all in one shot. I'm going to close that, go back in here, hold things. Now you've seen me do this a bunch of times. What I'm doing is holding the shift key in between those two clicks, and you can see it selects everything in that long list, which is a great thing to know. That works in a lot of computer programs. I'm right clicking, appearance. I want to go to I did glossy pine because it looks a lot like, pine 2x4s. It's just got a little bit of interesting effect on it. Actually, I think what I did, I want to check real quick with oak here in front of you, since you might want to shift, range like that. Yeah, the oak is a little bit more rustic. It's a little bit darker. It looks a little bit cleaner, though, I think. You can go either way. I'm just going to leave it this way so you can see more shadows and more of some. I think it's a little bit easier to understand what's going on when I do this next step. Now my dog's in my bedroom trying to go, hey, what's up? Deal with it, doggy. Okay, so now I'm putting the sketch on the side. After all that, I'm going to go back here and real quick show you it's the 1/8 of an inch point down this way, projecting a couple of lines on this side and up there, and just kind of mapping this as we go. So my measurements are going to be slightly different than what I did the last time. So this is my first time doing this with this particular drawing. Oh, and actually the point's going to already be there. My last drawing, I didn't have the double top plates like you really would. I'm going to cancel out of this. Select the wrong thing. Click there. Click there. Point. Actually, you can click this point right here. You don't have to put the point on this one because the point is already there for us. Same thing here. Perfect. So I'm going to connect this point. Ooh, sorry. Give me a second. I'm going with the line tool. And there's no easy way to do this. So part of what I'm going to do here is just make a double layer of lines, which is going to look a little bit funny, but it'll help me. If I put that line in there and I go over this, you can see I can use that line temporarily as an indicator. And I don't really care about the overhang. There's a standard for this, but really it's a matter of visual preference. Like if you're looking at the side of a shed, the overhang would go from there to about there. And then you can just go up. I don't care how far you go up at this point. You're going to go up there, and then we're going to be able to make a parallel line. I'm going to zoom out, hover over the other end of, this other side of this long line that we went, and go up until you see, I don't want to move my mouse. I'm looking back underneath the measurement, 9.25, and you can see the parallel line indicators. That's where I'm going to click to place that line and then come down and close this off. All right. I am going to, I don't know, that dog noise is going to be what it is. She's being a little bit funny in the back there. You're going to put a measurement. Okay, clicking dimension tool. These two are going to be a known width. We're going to make these at a 3/8 inch lumber, and I want this again to be visually as accurate as I can for my students. 3/8. This is going to be a little bit different. You can see the measurement lines have to be, I don't want the measurement to be on that vertical line. I need the width of the wood to be accurate to what the width of the wood is going to be in real life. So I'm going to go 3/8 that way and hit enter. If you want to put a specific overhang measurement here, you can go from here to here. Or if you move, you can see this happens sometimes where it's like, that's not the measurement that I'm looking for. But if I move in on the part, it's going to go, oh, you want that to be a 1/2 inch? Sure. It's just so it's an exact number there. All right. But all this rest of the stuff, what we could do is just put lines in now, going from here to this point to that line. Got to make sure we pick up this line here. Why doesn't it want to snap to that line? Oh, because I didn't project this edge here. It's not seeing this intersection. So I want to project and click this line. Hit OK. And now it's going to see that intersection, or it should. Let's see if it's working on. Interesting. All right, I'm going to start up here real quick. What I'm doing is I'm making a cut in this rafter or ceiling joist, and either way is kind of an appropriate thing. I'm going from this point down to this line, up to that point, and back over to this point, and cutting away, trimming away this stuff. So that leaves that cut left in that. I'm going to do the same on this side, and it should be that easy, but if I go from here, it looks like it's snapping. It's just not really giving me the right visual indicator there. Let's see if I can cut away. See, what this means is that there wasn't a connection. I'm going to hit Control Z. Didn't do anything. Bring back that. Huh. It's connected. It just didn't quite select it right. Anyway, hopefully all that's clear. This, I'm going to hit Escape real quick and grab this and show you there's no measurement on here yet. You can do the same thing and put it one. Escape, I was on the wrong thing. Dimension. If you click this, it can hop in either way, and you can do that. 0.5 on both sides if you want. Then you hit the E button to extrude it. And I think that shape is definitely going to be a new body. It should automatically be a new body. And you've got to make sure that you go this way. It's going to be a negative 0.25. And then new body. I hit OK. I'm going to pause for a second. I'll be right back. I'm sorry again. I'm always contending with my dog in the background, and she was jumping around, and I had to stop something. This is 1/8, not 0.25. It's the same thickness of the other pieces. It's just going to be a little bit taller. So you got to make sure that's a new body. Do this, and we're just going to pattern it. And that's one of the most technical parts of this whole thing. And if you got this far, congratulations. You're going to pattern this thing, grabbing this blue arrow, go to the left 7 times. There we go. This is that 9 7/8 measurement again. And we want 1 row of those. Okay. And you can see what you do if this was the first body in the set, so that would be 53. And I think I'll shift to go down to. Why is this not going? There you go. Show that the right way. Yeah, you scroll down the list and go, okay, this is body 53. That's the first in the list. You can hold shift, go down to the end, right click, change the appearance. And whatever you just used is going to be in your recent appearances. I went from pine to oak. They look both the same in here, but I'm going to click the oak, make the top the same texture as everything else. They have a rough opening for a door, a rough opening for a window, all of the framing that you would need to build the shed. Realistically, like I said, we're gonna. I may or may not have said this. As we build this in class, we're actually going to put a floor on this thing, just because it's going to make more sense in stability, I think. That's a most likely situation. I haven't done this quite yet with the students, but draw it this way. This is real, like you would build in reality. See you soon, guys. Thanks for your patience.